so that you guys could go back and look at this after, or anybody who did not make it could make it and see it afterwards, right? But they'll only see me, they won't see you guys. So I want you to sit up tall. But anytime we sit to do breath work or to meditate, it's really important for you to have your hips higher than your knees. If you can see here, I'm sitting on a cushion, so I can get my hips above my knees. For some of us, that might mean sitting on a stool or sitting on a chair, or some of us sitting on our heels. Now, don't rush to do that. You don't have to do that right this second, because we are just going to talk for a little bit first. But for 2 minutes, we are going to sit. So when you sit up nice and tall, bring your hands about halfway up your thighs. See if you can bring your elbows into your side body, right? And the arch of your hand faces your inner knee. And if you're sitting on a chair, same thing. Just put your hands on your thighs. You don't have to sit cross-legged on your floor. Just close your eyes for me. And I just want you to bring your awareness to your breath. No controlling your breath. See if you can look at your breath and observe your breath without controlling your breath. That might sound really easy, but sometimes that can be a little difficult, right? And now I want you just to acknowledge where your breath is. Is your breath in your belly? Is your breath up in your rib cage? Is your breath in your chest? Is it heavy? Is it shallow? Is it quick? Is it long? Now see if you can lengthen the back of your neck so there's a gentle, very subtle dip of your chin. And right now, I want you to imagine that your breath carried an emotion, that your breath had an intelligence, and it carried emotion with it. What emotion would your breath have now? What does your breath feel like? And together, we're going to come to the bottom of your exhale. Try to hold your breath for a moment at the bottom of your exhale. And we're just going to take an inhale for a count of 4, 3, 2, pause. Exhale for 4, 2, pause. Inhale for 4, pause. Exhale for 4, pause. One more time. Inhale for a count of 4, pause. Exhale for a count of 4. And just release your breath. On your next inhale, bring your hands to your heart, your thumbs to your chest like you would in prayer. And I just want to invite you to offer up, to connect to God of your own understanding, whatever that looks like or sounds like. And I want to invite you to offer up a prayer and intention for our session today. Everything we do has the opportunity to be prayer, and a workshop on breath is no different. So just taking that moment. And together we ask that the vibration of our session, the vibration of our breath, and the vibration of our actions, our words, and our life can contribute to healing of our world. Together we inhale. And we offer up our prayers and our intentions with our next exhale. Gently release your hands. Slowly lifting your chin and gently, really slowly opening your eyes. All right, so if any of you guys need to say anything urgently, feel free to unmute. I do want to offer a disclaimer really quick before we start, right? Which is that I am on the north coast of Paramin. Apparently there's a tropical storm coming, but current can go and internet can drop at any point in time. So because of our lockdown and our curfew, I didn't really have a choice but to be here this afternoon. So if you lose me, please forgive me, right? Jade might jump in. She's here and she said, please don't tell him I'll jump in and cover for you because I'm not prepared. But she's here, so who knows what might happen if you lose me. So I know most of us came here and we may have expected to do breath work together for 45 minutes. But what happens is there's a lot of talk around breathe, make sure and breathe, telling people to breathe, make sure and breathe, 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 breathe. But part of the problem is that we don't know how to breathe. You see, breath is our automatic response. From the second we're born, air comes into us and we start breathing. So to breathe automatically and to breathe consciously is two completely different things, right? Like you could start your car engine and your car's running, but you're not going to go anywhere unless you know how to use it, right? And learning how to use your breath is really fundamental, as well as learning the intricacies of how powerful our breath actually is. So I want to talk about that just for about 20 minutes before we get into one or two breathing exercises, right? And it's still helpful for me to see you so I don't feel like I'm talking to myself. So the thing is this, right? That when we think about wellness or health, a lot of the time as a society, we think about our diet, we think about exercise, we even think about stress and workload, right? But get this, and this is obvious, but to actually hear it and digest it, makes it land inside of us, right? You can last 3 weeks without food. You can last 3 days without water. The average individual cannot last more than 3 minutes without breathing. More importantly, you breathe an average of 23,000 times a day. Most of us don't eat more than 3 meals a day. So what do you think has more impact? What we eat and our exercise or how we breathe? Because no matter how much you exercise, no matter how well you eat, no matter how stress-free your life is, if you aren't breathing properly, I wouldn't say it doesn't matter, but the impact all of that other stuff has on your life is minuscule. The most powerful thing we have access to is our breath. It is the most powerful medicine we have. And fortunately, Western medicine is beginning to realize that. They are coming around to that. Because for decades, we have been told, I wouldn't say we've been told a lie, because that would be assuming and implying that we forgot about breath intentionally. And I don't think that was the case, right? I just think along decades of time, we've lost our connection with the breath and the power of the breath, right? We've been told that our physical body, our mental body, and our emotional body, our spiritual body are all separate. I wouldn't call it a lie, but that is the biggest misinformation we have ever been fed. Hands down. It is the biggest piece of information that we have ever digested. And we have absorbed it, we have took it as truth, and as a society, we have come to believe that. And whether we don't consciously believe that, everything in our society implies that. You get physically ill. You feel tension in your body. Where's your first place you go? To the doctor. To get medicine. We don't connect that maybe physical illness can be caused by emotional, mental stress. We don't connect the fact that maybe emotional and mental stress could be caused by not breathing properly. And I like to imply, or yeah, it's kind of implying, but I actually do believe that our relationship with our breath and our mind is like a marriage. Except, and some of you have heard me say this a million times, right? It's a marriage, but it's not like common day marriage, because divorce and separation are not options. It's not even an option that is looked down upon. It is not an option. You are intertwined with your breath and your mind for the rest of your life. There's no getting away from it. There's only one way to get away from it, and none of us want to consider that option. So with this eternal marriage, right? Because it's not even two people, right? This is like 3 and 4 entities: your mind, emotions, body, breath, spirit, everything intertwined. And I won't ask a question because then we'll have a whole back and forth, but I would like to believe that any of you married or that have been in long-term, holistic, quality relationships can acknowledge that there's one thing that has to happen for any relationship to be holistic and loving and supportive. And that is quality time. You got to spend quality time. You can't come home every day and sit down next to your partner on the couch, eat a bag of potato chips and flick through each TV channels every single day with no intimacy. Because what kind of relationship is that, right? For there to be intimacy, we have to spend quality time with our partner. We have to spend quality time with our breath, right? That means whether it be 5 or 10 minutes of conscious breathing a day, that's your intimate time. And I'm not saying that, you know, I've often been asked, well, do you breathe consciously 20,000 times a day while you're running around doing stuff? Of course not. But your body has memory. The muscles of your body have memory, and your breath has memory, right? So when we spend time to develop this intimacy with our breath, when you need to go there, your body and your emotions, your mental state knows it can go there to ground itself. So when we're challenged or we're stressed in any way, that's backup, right? Because your body carries this muscle memory. We always talk about muscle memory. Your body carries this intelligence. Your breath and your body is more intelligent than we would ever imagine, right? Now, sometimes I feel like talking about this stuff could be mumbo jumbo, and you'll probably realize I haven't even spoken about the word yoga yet, because I don't want to, not here. I will try to make it clear that this was not a workshop for yoga practitioners. This is a workshop for everyone. So I'm going to try not even to reference yoga practices or yoga terminology, right? But think of, just to connect the dots for you, if you're really stressed at work or family or relationship, what happens to your physical body? It contracts. It gets tense, right? And when your body gets tense, what happens to your breath? It gets fast and shallow. Now, that's one direction of communication, but it also goes in the opposite direction. When all of that happens, say you're stressed, your body's uptight, you're really high strung, your breath is fast, and you go for a massage. Muscles of your body relaxes. And what happens to your physical body? All of that relaxes. What happens to your mental, emotional state? That begins to relax. What happens to your breath? That begins to relax. And you can also voluntarily make this happen. Because if everything is uptight and high stressed, and you start to consciously breathe, your body relaxes and your mental, emotional state begins to change. So I want to invite you to look at this as a relationship, right? It's a relationship that communicates in every direction. Nothing in your body or your life is separate from anything else. It all affects everything else. And we need to begin to acknowledge that, right? Now, you might be thinking, because I said I learned to breathe at 27. And I mentioned that breathing and breathing properly or breathing consciously is two completely different things. Completely different things. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, I breathed in for 5 decades. I breathed in for 4 decades. What are you telling me about I don't know how to breathe? I'm an athlete. Maybe. I have spoken to many of our national athletes who couldn't answer one question for me. They still have no clue how to breathe. In my adolescent years as a footballer, or what I would like to believe was an athlete back then, I didn't know how to breathe. In all my training and commitment to being an athlete, no one taught me how to breathe. And our national athletes still do not know how to breathe. That is fact. So here, what I want us to dial into now is the anatomy of our breath and how that works, right? Because that is really important. I could take you through a breathing practice, and I could tell you to take 5 minutes and 10 minutes a day and breathe, and you might do that. But if you don't understand how your breath works and how to breathe properly, you're not going to get out of it what you can, right? It's like if you tell your partner, I want to spend intimate time, and your partner doesn't understand what intimate time means to you, that's counterproductive. So let's understand how our breath works so we can begin to understand it, right? So I wish this was Q&A and live, but it's not, right? Most of us, if I ask the question, when you inhale, do you pull air into your body? You would probably give me a nod. Yeah? How much of you think yeah? Everybody's scared to nod. I would have said yes at 27 years old, right? But that's actually not how your breath works. You do not. This is not yoga mumbo jumbo, by the way. This is medicine. This is science. And it's amazing that we aren't taught this. You do not pull air into your body. That is not how your breath works, right? I'm going to take you back to some physics. Your breath is a vacuum. Your body creates a vacuum. So your thoracic cavity begins at your diaphragm, which lies just under your rib cage. Your diaphragm up to your sternum, consider that your thoracic cavity. Now think of it as a box, right? Now inside this box has an air pressure. So think of all these molecules of air inside this box. Now when you expand the volume of this box and make the box bigger, what happens to the air pressure inside the box? Show me a thumbs down or a thumbs up. Air pressure would go down. If you increase the volume of a box, the air pressure inside the box decreases. Good. So I'm going to repeat that again because it's really important and it's physics. And some of you guys might have a block to it because it's physics. But if you have a capacity, a shape, a box, or a room, and you expand the volume of that box, you make it bigger, the air pressure inside of it decreases. So when your thoracic cavity expands, the air pressure inside of you decreases. What this means is that the air pressure outside of you is now higher than the air pressure inside of you. Another law of physics. Gas will move into lower pressure to create equilibrium. So when you expand the volume of your thoracic cavity and the air pressure inside of you descends, the air pressure outside, the air molecules outside of you move inside of you to create balance or equilibrium. So think of it this way. We don't pull air into our body. We do not actually breathe. We create space to be breathed by something externally. And the same thing that is breathing me is the same thing breathing you. Every one of you, right? And the air that was inside of me last year might be inside of Kelly now in Australia, or Mary in Montana, right? That's probably session 4. So we're going to skip that part of it. But I want us to understand that the more you can expand and create space in your thoracic cavity, your upper torso, is the more you can breathe. Really simple. If your body is in a contracted state and the muscles of your body are tense, and I'm also talking about your hamstrings, your quads, your muscles of your shoulders, your back, your chest, your pecs, if the muscles of your body are tight and contracted, your body cannot expand the way it needs to. So it's a cycle, right? Because if you're stressed, Yvonne, your body's contracted. If you go and you work out all the time without lengthening muscles, your body's contracted. So that leads to you breathing quickly, which leads to your body being more contracted, which leads to you being more stressed. So it is a cycle that is just taking us down a hole. Everything is interrelated. So I want to get to this now because I want to leave at least 15 minutes for us to do some breath work, maybe 20, and we'll run out of time, right? You don't breathe up and down. You know, people tell you breathe into your belly, breathe into your chest. That's one dimension of your breath. First of all, you can't breathe into your belly unless someone sticks you with a knife. The only reason your abdomen expands is because your diaphragm descends into your abdomen and makes your belly bulge. That's important to understand. You breathe in 3 or 4 dimensions. Your diaphragm descends to create space. Your sternum lifts to create space. Your chest expands. Your rib cage should expand like gills of a fish. Your back body even expands, and the muscles of your back and your shoulders, everything expands in 360 degrees like a cylinder. So when we create space in that way, we are now able to receive more breath because we increase our volume of our thoracic cavity by so much more than if we were just to breathe up and down. And the problem is that most of us are walking around every day just breathing up and down rather than using our whole thoracic cavity to breathe, right? Now, I could go on and on, but I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in the second session or recap on it. I will leave you with 2 more things before we get into breath work. One of my favorite quotes, which most of you have heard, is a teacher called Iyengar. And he says that your mind is king of everything, but your breath is king of your mind. Your mind dictates your entire reality. Your mind dictates what you think of people. It dictates the color of the wall behind me. It dictates the state of a world. It dictates how you show up in a world. It dictates everything. And if you don't have a conscious relationship to your mind, you are going to live in a pit of anxiety, depression, and stress. Your breath is a key to developing that relationship to your mind and to your entire life. When I was looking at videos today, I came across a statistic that I had to laugh at. Because in 2015, before COVID, before this pandemic, the WHO stated that the main disability on our entire planet among the human race by 2020 would be anxiety, depression, and lack of sleep. This was said in 2015, before even considering a pandemic. Now imagine what the state of the world is in, right? Our entire state of the world, whether you realize it or not, is in a state of trauma. You might not know it, but we are all experiencing PTSD. And it's not even PTSD because it's not over yet. We're still in it. And if we don't cultivate this tool of breathing, we have a real hard time ahead of us, right? It's so ironic that this pandemic threatens our breath. Of all things, directly threatens our breath. And it's bringing us to deepen our relationship to breathing. And what really puzzles me is that there's all this talk of vaccines, which I'm pro-vaccine, by the way. I'm not bashing vaccines. And there's all this talk of everything else. But no one's telling people how to breathe properly. This should be on the news. This should be on CNN. We should be telling people how to breathe and teaching people how to breathe because they don't know. So I hope you tell your friends and bring your friends, and next week we have 400 people on this call. And I hope you share this information. But without further ado, I'm going to ask you to sit up nice and tall or lie on your back. Because you want your body to be in a relaxed state, right? If your body is not relaxed, you're not going to be able to breathe properly. So for some of us, that might mean lying on our back and putting a pillow behind our head. And I'm just going to lead you through one or two practices, and then every week we're going to add one or two more, right? Now, if you can, elevate your hips above your knees. That might mean sitting on a chair. You don't have to look like an old Indian man in a cave 100 years ago, right? And all you need right now is your ears to hear me. So I want you to place your hands on your thighs. Allow your elbows to draw into the sides of your body. And I want you to allow your breath to come up into your rib cage and your chest. See if you can just remember, you're not pulling your breath. Create space. Imagine your breath is a lover. Create space for your breath to move. You're not forcing your breath. Just create space for it to move inside of you. The more space you create, is the more your breath can move. So I just want you to look at your breath for a moment. And as I lead you through this practice, remember this is a relationship. So if at any point you feel out of breath or you feel tense or like you need just to surrender whatever we're doing and relax, then do that. Just let the breath go and you'll join us on the next round, all right? Don't allow your breath to create tension in your body. Remember, it's a relationship. So the first thing I'm going to invite you to do is we're going to separate your breath into three parts. You could just keep your eyes closed and breathe while I babble a little bit. The first part of your breath is in your lower abdomen, right? That's where your diaphragm descends into your abdomen and your belly begins to expand, or what feels like your belly. That's the first third of your breath. The second third is your rib cage and your sides of your body, like gills of a fish. And the top third is your sternum, your chest, and even the back of your body, like wings of an angel. So the first practice we're going to do is we're going to split your inhale into 3 parts. In yoga, we call it viloma. And then we're going to take one long exhale. So we're going to do that 3 times around, right? So I want you to come to the bottom of your exhale and pause. And we're just going to take one normal breath. So just inhale for a count of 3. Feel it up into your chest and your sternum. Pause. Try to breathe through your nose, right? Exhale for a count of 3. Pause. And now we're going to begin. Breathe into your lower abdomen, your first third. Pause. Now inhale into your second third. Your diaphragm, your rib cage, your side body. Pause. Now inhale into your sternum and your chest and your back body. Pause. Now take one long exhale. Top down, chest all the way down. Get all the air out of your body. Draw your belly to your spine. Now release your breath completely. Allow your breath to come in, right? This is what we call a recovery breath. Again, come to the bottom of your exhale and pause. Get all the air out of your body. Contract your ribcage, draw your belly to your spine. Now inhale, first third. Your lower abdomen, your diaphragm, pause. Inhale, your side body, your ribcage expands like the gills of a fish. Pause. Inhale, your chest, your back body, your sternum expands. Pause. Relax your shoulders. Exhale all the air out of your body, from the top down, rib cage, chest, belly hugs to your spine, all the air out of your body. And now release. So there's one more recovery breath. Just allow your breath to come back into you. Remember, don't force it. Just allow it back in. Your breath knows what to do. It's intelligent. More intelligent than we give it credit. Now come to the bottom of your exhale. Belly draws to your spine. Remember, you can lie on your back, right, guys? Inhale into your lower abdomen, your bottom third. Your diaphragm descends, your belly expands. Pause. Now inhale into your rib cage, your side body. Pause. Now inhale up into your sternum, your chest, your back body. Pause. Exhale, get all the air out of your body, from the top down, all the air out, all the air out. Belly to your spine. Now release your breath. Just allow your breath to come back into you. So what we're going to do now is Viloma 2. And we're just going to do 3 rounds, then that's it, right? Then we connect again next week. Viloma 2 does the opposite. So it's one long inhale, and then 3-part exhale from the top down, right? So you'll go chest, sternum, side body, rib cage, and then belly, diaphragm, right? So come to the bottom of your exhale. Now take one long inhale, threading those three parts of your breath together. Feel your diaphragm lower, feel your ribcage expand, side body long, sternum lifts, back body long. Now take an extra sip of air. Hold. Now slowly, chest and sternum descends. Pause. Ribcage and side body contract. Pause. Belly draws to your spine, diaphragm ascends. All air out of your body. Nothing left, nothing left. Pause. Now release your breath. Just let it come back into you. If you're getting tired sitting up, guys, lie on your back, right? You want your body to be at ease. Second round, come to the bottom of your exhale and pause. One long, smooth inhale from the bottom up. Diaphragm, ribcage, side body, chest, sternum, back body, neck. Take an extra sip of air, even when you think you can't. Pause. Now exhale your first third. Your chest, your sternum. Pause. Exhale your rib cage, your side body. Pause. Exhale, your belly draws to your spine, your diaphragm ascends. Pause and release. And we're going to go for one last round. Come to the bottom of your exhale and pause. All air out, all air out. One long inhale from the root of your spine all the way up. Your diaphragm descends. Feel your ribcage expand like gills of a fish. Use the muscles of your body to get wide. Chest lifts. Pause. Take an extra sip of air. Now exhale from the top third. Sternum and chest contracts. Pause. Your side body contracts. Your ribcage contracts. Pause. Your belly draws to your spine. Your diaphragm ascends. Hold. All air out of your body. All air out. All air out. All air out. I want you to hold as long as comfortable. Don't overthink it. It doesn't mean how long you hold your breath doesn't mean anything. And day by day it changes. When you need to release, just allow breath back into you. And just allow your breath to move. Look at it move. Try not to control it at all. It might be shallow, it might be deep. If you want to move onto your back now, you can move onto your back now. Just keep your eyes closed, we're still in it. If you would rather remain seated, remain seated. If you have a bolster you want to put behind your knees, go for it. Just stay with your breath, right? Stay with your breath. Now your breath, think of your breath as shape change. In more space and you can create in your body, more you can change the shape of your thoracic body, the more breath you can receive. Now I'm going to leave you with this again. Your breath affects everything. Your heart rate, It affects your immune system, blood circulation, your lymphatic system, your digestive system. It impacts speech. It impacts your state of mind. It impacts your mental, emotional state. It impacts your relationship to your understanding of God. And that I might chat about in the last 2 sessions, maybe. And you breathe 20,000 times a day. So I want to invite you over next week before we meet again next Thursday to cultivate this relationship with your breath. I give you one practice you can do, but you can also just sit or lie on your back and breathe for 5-10 minutes. Think of your breath as a lover. Spend time. So I am going to officially close your practice, but I will hang around afterwards if any of you guys have questions, right? So the divine in me acknowledges the divine within yourself and all living things, as I say namaste. I leave you with your breath. I leave you with love.